Wait a minute. Was I a foodie call? Well, hello everybody, Anthony here. Welcome back to another sunny episode of the Single Parents Podcast. This is the podcast for anybody whose life may have turned out a little less than traditional. Good to see you all again. We're just going to jump right into it because pulling up here in a minute or two should be this week's special guest. Yeah, pretty stoked. So if you were able to check out last week's very important episode, like if you didn't listen to that episode, if you haven't watched it already, I would even say pause this one really quick, go check that one out. It's like 30 minutes, episode 52. I just basically announced that we as a podcast, we as a brand, the SPP, we are in our entrepreneur era. We're equipping and helping and encouraging single parents to maybe think about taking the step into owning their career and financial future. And I kind of break down how I've chosen to do that and how I want to help single parents specifically do that themselves. So you can go check out that episode. But our guest today is somebody who for herself has decided to step into the path of being an entrepreneur, being an independent agent at the same firm I'm actually working with. So it's actually pretty cool. So our guest is somebody who's kicking butt in the financial space, but also when it comes to fitness and health and personal training stuff, obviously stuff I'm not really accustomed to yet, but she does it all. She's awesome, single mom, entrepreneur, big vision, big ambition. I'm very excited for you all to meet her in just a moment. But before she arrives, a few things I'd like to ask you to do or consider. First things first, maybe consider sharing the podcast with a friend, with a family member, with somebody you know, with the thought or maybe the itch to become an entrepreneur and become a business owner, and maybe they just want to see how can I take control of my future. I'm tired of asking my boss if I can have a day off to go watch my kid play baseball. I'm tired of having to make sure my little green bubble on Microsoft Teams is always on, and I got to go really quick to the bathroom so it doesn't say that I'm not working, and I'm just tired of dealing with all that stuff. What do I need to do? Maybe share with them this podcast and we can help put them on the right path to success. So there's that. Second thing maybe I'd like to ask you to consider is just subscribing to the podcast yourself, ringing the bells, turning on notifications on your favorite podcast hosting platform. That way you never miss an episode in the future. I got some more amazing guests planned in the pipeline. It's going to be a good summer. I am pumped. And you should stick around to enjoy it all. So that would be great. And then last but not least, only do this if you think the podcast is worthy of it and you'd like to see us as a show continue to grow and thrive as well. Then the thing that you can do is rate the show 5 stars, highest rating possible on your favorite platform. That way we can tell those algorithms out there that the show is legit and it'll pass it along to more people. This episode is brought to you by me at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development. Single parents, are you looking to take control of your career and financial future? Well, my finance firm is currently recruiting new agents with a business model similar to real estate. Here's how it works. Let me break it down. First, we'll get you connected with our brokerage, and then we'll help you get fully licensed to work in the financial industry. We fully train you to go out and help clients reach their financial goals and dreams. And something pretty awesome is that no past experience in this industry is required. We're just looking for people who are ready to make an amazing change right now, because I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of people out there who are a little anxious when it comes to money and the economy and tariffs and 401ks and retirement. And we just, as a firm, we're growing, we're expanding at a crazy rate because there's so many people out there who legit just need some good people to help them. And maybe one of those good people could be you. Reach out and let me know if you might be interested in learning more. I'd love to sit down and talk with you to see if this might be a good fit for you and your family. Yes, that's Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now. All right, everybody. So I would love to introduce you all to today's guest. We have a badass single mom entrepreneur here. If you're watching the video version of the podcast, you can see her lovely face right next to mine. But for our audio listeners, love to introduce you to my friend Kayla. How's it going?
It is going. It has been already a morning, all the kids.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I haven't really asked you this. She walked in the house and we got to work. We're professionals, people. We got stuff to do. But no, how was your morning? It was crazy, you said?
Yeah, a little bit. I ended up taking a nap, so I guess it wasn't that crazy.
Okay.
But
Nice.
my kid always wakes up. His internal clock is on point, dude.
Uh-huh.
He wakes up at like 6 o'clock every morning. It does not matter how late he stays up.
Okay.
So he was already watching TV and he wasn't hungry yet. So we ended up watching Grown Ups.
Nice movie.
And
Cool.
ended up falling asleep a little bit, and I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to fall asleep on you." He was like, "It's okay, Mom." He was like, "I tried to wake you up, but whatever, you needed sleep." I was like, "Thanks.
Aw.
I appreciate it."
What a little empath. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
Very cool.
but other than that, it was a pretty decent morning. He decided to make pancakes, and he's 10.
Oh.
So,
Okay, nice,
yeah.
nice. I think my kids would like to cook and do stuff like that, but they don't love cleaning up the mess afterwards. So
Oh.
it's one of those things where I'm hearing the pots and the pans and the stuff go crazy in the kitchen, and they're like, "Dad, we got this. You sit down and you relax. We'll take care of breakfast or whatever." And then I'm just anxiously waiting to go see how destroyed the kitchen is
How
after.
messy.
Yeah. So it's not so relaxing, even though their
Dude.
intentions are good, I guess.
Yeah, I do have that rule of thumb of, like, whoever cooked doesn't have to clean up after.
Okay.
My oldest boy, so he will be 17 in May,
Oh yeah.
and, he, like, holds true to, like, part of cooking is cleaning up, and I'm like, "Dude, I feel like in a household,
Yeah.
no. Like, it's a team effort. Whoever
Nice.
made dinner shouldn't have to clean up afterwards, right?
Mm,
Like, I'm obviously not gonna make a huge mess, I'll be wiping as I go, but,
yeah.
like, I'm not gonna do the dishes after slaving over a meal.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, so it's always a team effort when it comes to that. Whoever cooks doesn't have to necessarily clean up.
Okay. That's a good rule of thumb. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. So I see the motherly wisdom coming through. So people, this is the gold that you're gonna get on today's episode with Kayla. I guess Kayla, to set it up, I kind of let the people know last week what I, as a single dad, have stepped into as
Mm.
far as career change and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. As I mentioned in the intro, Kayla and I are actually licensed to work under the same finance firm. And so that's kind of how we got to know each other. We're doing cool stuff over in that space. So, but I just kind of let people know a little bit about what I'm doing and a little bit about how maybe they can get involved and make some change themselves. And I want to pick your brain on that and get your perspective on that, especially as a single mom. But before we get into all that juicy stuff, we gotta get to know you a little bit. We gotta make sure that the people know who's giving them all this gold today. So you can start wherever. You can start at the hospital you were born, and I'm gonna guess November 16th, 1993. Is that close?
God. The year is kinda close. So I was actually born in California, in Brawley, California. So, like, I was, like, right on the border of Mexico, and, 91 in February.
Pretty close. Good job, Anthony.
Yeah. So, 91, February 4th is my birthday. Um, as a child, I moved around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I never really knew my parents to be together. They were always, like, not together since I was a kid, and, living in Imperial Valley, it was fine. Like, childhood was relatively decent. Let's see. Moved around a lot because my mom was always moving around, so went to school in Imperial,
Mm-hmm.
then went to school in San Bernardino, and then my grandmother, because I lived with her and my dad, uh, my grandmother's firm, she worked at AAA,
Okay.
doing claims. And
Yeah.
so that firm shut down. And so she had to transfer. And so she transferred to San Diego. And then we lived in Escondido for a long time. And I then moved in with my mom in middle school. Lived here, went through the motions. I met my ex-husband when we were like 15. It's kind of like the weirdest toxic, not toxic relationship that you could think
Okay.
of. It was very on and off again, but never because we were fighting. Like, I don't know what he was doing. He would just call me up one random night and just be like, "Hey, I think we should break up." And I'd be like, "All right." Like, I wouldn't even cry about it. I was like, "Okay." And then at 16 we ended up getting pregnant with Leo, and then we both graduated high school, moved to Escondido with my dad to try to help him out. My grandmother had just passed right before I graduated, so I wasn't able to help her in her health crises. But then we got pregnant again with Cooper. We moved back, we separated. We were separated for about, God, I want to say 5 years-ish. And then we ended up trying to make it work again. We each had a kid with somebody else.
Okay.
So one of my good friends, she's like, "You each had a love child outside of here." And I was like, "Yeah." And then we got back together, ended up having another kid. We were together for about another 5 years. And then now we haven't been together for, I want to say like maybe 3 years,
Okay.
2.5, 3 years, somewhere around there. So, and I got my own apartment, and I have my kids pretty much full time because he hasn't figured out how he can get them to and from school yet.
Oh, sure.
So hopefully he'll figure that out, and then we can because I do think it would be easier on the kids if they wouldn't feel so bad trying to like make sure everybody gets time spent.
Right.
I think it would be beneficial for the children to be like at his house for 2 weeks and then my house for 2 weeks. That way it's not like a quick flip around.
Right.
And they can actually have time to settle, because it is definitely like 2 different dynamics, like definitely 2 different households. I mean, we have like similar roles, but it's definitely like they don't have chores. Like they don't have a dog to take out. They don't have like a whole lot of chores at his house. Where at my house right now, at least, it's like do your laundry, do the dishes, do this, do that, like do your schoolwork. So right now it's a little bit of a different dynamic. And I think if they saw that, if they were going to school at his house, then I wouldn't be like the bad guy.
Sure.
Or
Oh, I
like
see what you're
the,
saying.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it would be like, oh no, dad's gonna act that way too because now we have schoolwork, now we have this at his
Yeah.
house. And,
Makes sense.
and so yeah, that is like a little bit of my story.
Nice. And then, so how many kids do you have total?
4.
4, and all boys, right?
Yep, all boys.
All boys. Nice.
All boys.
So I'm a girl dad for anybody new to the show. I have 2 girls, so I only know the girl life. So as you're a girl, no, I messed it up. Boy mom. There we go. I got there. What is it like being a mother of boys? Yeah, I have no idea what that would even be like.
I feel like my house probably always smells like farts, feet, and a dog, since I have a dog. Like I feel like being a boy mom is just full of odd smells that you're like, what is going
Yeah, okay.
what is going on? I definitely have like put my foot down, like any place that I choose to live in, whether it's like better financially or what have you, like cheaper rent. I refuse to have one bathroom. I will not do it.
Smart. That's a good tip.
Yeah, don't have one bathroom because the smells are god awful and they are just so filthy. They are so filthy. So yeah, I have my bathroom. They're not allowed to use it. They have their bathroom. 'Cause yeah, the boys are they're just dirty. But I also remember being a kid and obviously female, and I was also fucking not the cleanest little.
Oh, so maybe it's not their gender, it's their genetics.
Yes, maybe
From you, right?
yeah, maybe it's genetics. I was not always like, my room wasn't clean. Like My bathroom, I mean, I shared it with my dad, and my grandmother had her own bathroom, but, like, I don't know, it wasn't necessarily dirty because I didn't have all the girly things either, like, I was more of a tomboy, so but as far as, like, I'm sure I wasn't this, like, cleanest smelling girl all the time because living in California, I was in a swimming pool, I was at the beach, like, during school time, I showered every day,
Yeah.
but during the summer, you would not I was always in the water, so I, like, as a little kid mentality, I was just like, "Who needs to shower if I'm already in the water?"
That's it's not bad logic. I could follow that.
Right? Um, you go to the beach, and then you use the shower to rinse off the salt water and the sand, right? Like, you have that
Yeah,
there's my
makes
shower.
sense. Yeah, it's logic to me.
As a little girl, you don't and then having just me and my dad, he
Yeah.
was just like, "Whatever." So, like,
Nice.
uh, but yeah, so having 4 boys, it is definitely a trip. I know a lot of people are always like, "Oh, well, like, it must be a lot easier than being like, having all girls, right? Because girls are drama." And I'm like, "Dude, boys are just as much
Yeah,
drama."
yeah, I do. Yeah, that is true.
Like, boys are just as bad. They bicker over literally nothing.
Yep.
Over nothing. So, yeah, it's very loud household. Um, but I don't think I would change it for the world,
Nice.
Like, there had been times in my life where I was like, "Oh my god, what would it be like if I only had Leo and Cooper?"
Mm.
Because they are, like, now in high school
Right.
and, they're almost at that stepping stone of getting out of the house, but, I mean, really in the economy, are they gonna be out of my house? No, they're not, but they'll be, like, stepping into that adulthood where it's like, now you need more responsibility other than, like, homework and the dishes,
Right.
right? Get a little bit more well-rounded
Mhm.
adult men, hopefully.
Sure, yeah. You're a mother of some boys, you've been around, you've traveled, and now here you are, you have your apartment. But kind of in light of what we're talking about today and last week when it comes to entrepreneurial stuff and business owner stuff and making some changes to expand your, I guess, horizons a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, I guess, what you're doing, what you do, what you're kind of working towards, and what made you decide to take a leap into something more.
Um, what got me to decide to take that leap into entrepreneurial ventures is, I didn't even know how I was making ends meet.
Yep.
My kids would ask me for something that was just, like, mundane,
Yeah.
like, not a necessity, and I would just tell them, I'd be like, "Look, you guys, like, I would love so much to be able to buy that for you, but, like, I have a chalkboard in my house." And so, like, I showed them, I was like, "Okay, if I'm making X amount and our rent
Yeah.
is X amount, subtract that," right? And, like, I did the math for them,
Mm,
and after paying rent, it was, like, $200
yep.
left over, and they were like, "Wait, but we spend, like, $400 on groceries."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "How do you do it?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like, I honestly don't know. I juggle things and I make it work.
Mhm.
And so when this, opportunity came to light, I was just like, "I have to." Um, was it a little scary? Absolutely, because when you're an entrepreneur, you do have to spend money to make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And obviously, as I just explained, I was already in the negatives
Hmm.
just living by necessity. So, I almost didn't take the leap because I was like, I don't know if I can afford this to even try. But I was like, well, I still have my job. I can always do
Sure.
overtime. Like, I can balance it. And so I took the leap and here I am. I'm like really excited for the future that
Nice.
this is going to bring
Yeah.
because even though I am a little bit more busy trying to make it all work out,
Yeah.
my my kids are going to eventually see that, like, dang, mom did that.
That's awesome.
Mom did that. And I think that's what drives me is that, like, even though I'm still struggling a little bit,
Hmm.
my apartment, I bought that. My car, I make those payments. Like, the food in my house, I make those. Like, I don't get child support. I don't get anything like that. I'm just like, I am just doing it.
Yeah.
Just me, raw. Like, so, um, so yeah, I mean, that's what brought me here is just I cannot let life happen to me anymore. I need to
That's good.
make life happen.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we talk a lot at our firm about like goals and our whys, why we're doing this, and you kind of explain that. But like
Mhm.
goals for like the future, this is some things we're working towards. This is where I want to be in 3 to 5 years as a
Yeah.
professional. So for you, what are some of your personal goals that 3, 5 years down the road you'd like to see come to be reality?
Goals. So in 3 years, I definitely want or sooner, I want to have already got all my paperwork done to buy a house.
Nice.
So that is that goal. Another goal is to I don't have very much more to pay off of for my van,
Hmm.
but it's still like a good chunk of change. It's like $7,000 or
Okay.
something like that. Or like now I think it's a little bit under, but I'd like to just do a huge payment, pay that off. And then I know it sounds ridiculous because like it's like you just get out of debt and then you want to put yourself in more debt. But I would like to buy another car that way since Leo is in the driving age, he can drive the van.
Yeah.
And then I can get a smaller car that is just for me and like the few kids that can't drive.
Sure.
And that'll save on gas too, hopefully. But I want that to be done also within 3 years. Money-wise, I'm dreaming big, dude.
Nice.
Like, I want to be making I know it's still kinda small probably, but I wanna be making, like, 10 grand a month.
Heck yeah. There you go.
That needs to be my side income, 10 grand a month. That would replace my 9 to 5
Hmm.
and still for me to live comfortably. And then once that is a steady that's my 3 to 5 year,
Okay.
goal, which I am assuming that it wouldn't take 5 years. Like, once I get that 10 grand just coming in
Mm.
and it's just, like, consistent, then I'm gonna move it up another 10 grand.
Right.
So then I'll be like, okay, 20 grand, 20 grand, 20 grand until hopefully I don't even have to work anymore.
Yeah, that's good thing about eventually being like a business owner
Yeah.
is that there's just different ways to get that passive income. That's what it's all about. That way you can be
Yes.
sipping a margarita on a beach and check your bank account. Like, oh, I made $15,000 today doing nothing. So I'll just another margarita on me, people. Like that's the dream, right?
Around
Round
the
of margaritas on me. Yes,
Yes, yes.
that's really cool. I think that's really cool to I don't know, have those dreams and those ambitions,
Mhm,
but also being willing to take the leap to do the things to make them possible one day.
mhm,
Because I think a big thing I've been thinking through, and I want your opinion on this, is that a lot of us have those big dreams and those big desires to make more money, to buy a house, to be able to leave a certain job and just work for yourself and do all that. We can fantasize and we can maybe even talk to our friends and family about it, but actually taking even just the first step to make that become a reality can be kind of scary.
mhm,
Even if your current situation is, like you said, not the best. Like, I don't even know how I'm making it. Don't know how we're going to pay for this. Got to work 2 jobs, past due letters coming in the mail. Even though it might be stressful like that, our current reality, sometimes it's easy to just stay in that current state
mhm,
because even though it sucks, it's still comfortable. It's still familiar
mhm,
versus stepping into something which could lead to drinking margaritas on the beach, having $10,000 a month coming in. But it's a lot of unknown, a lot of fear of failure. What are other people going to think? What happens if I fail? All these different factors. And so we'll just stay in our crappy situations because the fear of change is just too much. So I guess for you, can you speak into that for maybe the single parent or person listening or watching this who has a desire to make a change, who knows what it's like to wake up every day and be like, I cannot live like this anymore. And they know they need to make a change, but they're scared. What would you say to them? Did you know that at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, not only are we recruiting the next top talent in the financial service industry to come in, get licensed and trained to help a lot of people and make a pretty good living doing it, we also connect individuals and families with licensed financial strategists who love nothing more than sitting down with people and helping them accomplish and succeed in their financial goals and dreams. Thinking about retirement? Do you think it's possible you could leave generational wealth to your children? Speaking of your children, do you know if they're properly protected if something unfortunate were to happen to you? Single parents out there, where are your kids gonna go? Who are they gonna be placed with if something dire does come your way? We sit down, we help break it all down, we come up with solutions that are best for you and your family. And the amazing part about this whole thing, our appointments are 100% free. Yep, all you gotta do is get in touch with us and we'll put you in contact with the financial strategist who will make sure that everything is properly planned out for your financial future for free. We also have an amazing referral program for professionals and business owners who might be looking to add an additional revenue stream to their portfolio. Yes, we're talking about real estate agents, mortgage brokers, property managers, CPAs, and tax professionals. This might be an easy way for you to add additional revenue to your business model. Reach out to us one more time. That's Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now.
That's a hard one because a lot of it stems from like believing in yourself, right? There's a lack of belief in yourself that you can make a difference or that you can choose something different. I actually wrote a poem like forever ago about like comfortable uncomfortability. I think is what I like titled it, something along those lines. I wrote it like, I don't know, right when I was getting back together with my kid's dad. Because like I had this like feeling in my gut to where I was like, I know this is probably a really poor choice,
Okay.
but I was trying to like be positive and like maybe he has changed, right? Because like we were kids and I gave him that benefit of the doubt of like the way things went was because we were kids trying to do adult things and that maybe it would be different because now we're like in our mid 20s, you know. And so I wrote a poem about it and it's because there's like I do feel like it's because there's a lack of self-worth and you think this is as good as it's gonna get. So you like tend to settle, right? And so like it's almost like when a victim stays with an abuser
Yes.
because they at least know that abuse
Yep.
and they know that someone else could possibly be a worse abuser. So they're just like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay here because like maybe all they know is that abuse, which in even as a single parent, right? And even speaking financially, it's like we are getting abused by the economy. We're getting abused by the prices of food, by the prices of gas, by like interest rates and you know, just the cost of living in general. And so it's like we don't want to venture out because we're like, oh, at least I know
Yep.
at least I know it's going to cost X amount and I can like pull this and I can do that and I can, you know, cut this out and cut this out. And, you know, instead of buying name brand, you're buying Kroger brand or Walmart brand. And I mean, it's all fine and good, but it's like there comes a point that we have to remember that those off brands will eventually reach the price of name brands.
Yeah.
So if you're struggling to get out of the box, just take that leap. Obviously, you don't want to put yourself in a dire situation where you're going to be missing bills or, you know, things like that, missing payments that are really important payments. But I mean, how much TV do you think you watch in a day?
Me personally, maybe an hour now.
Mhm.
It was probably before I made my own personal changes, but now probably like maybe an hour ish.
That's good. That's really good because most people just spend their whole
Exactly.
free
Yeah. And I
time.
used to be like that.
Most people spend their whole free time, and like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I get
Yeah.
caught doom scrolling. My kids
Yeah.
call me out on it, but it's like, okay, do you need internet? In our line of work, yes, we need
Yeah.
internet, but like, I would really start cracking down on like maybe we don't need Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, and like start cutting those out, and then like you can have a jar to get out of that box and start making side money.
Right.
Like you can have a little bit of extra money to put towards being an entrepreneur
Mm.
and like actually hitting those goals. I think at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know, because I'm guilty, is like a lot of people don't know even how to put their goals down in a way that is specific. They don't have like specific goals, right? We all have like general goals where it's like, I want to make more money.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you want to make more money, but what's the number?
Mm-hmm.
What's the number that you actually want to make? Because at that point, you're just like always moving the finish line. So you never feel
Yeah.
like you're getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, there is no actual goal. And it's great to move goals up, right? Like how I was saying, I want to make 10 grand and then eventually I want to make 20 grand. But at least there's a number to where I'm not just like, I need more money. I need more money. I need more money. Like 10 grand would be great because I could pay off a bunch of stuff and buy a house and not be like, in a hole. And then, of course, why not make more so that I can open up certain accounts for my kids so that they're
Yeah.
starting off
Yep.
in a better spot than I started off as a
Yep.
child.
It's true.
So I would just really think about the end in mind.
Mm-hmm.
What do you really want? How do you want your kids to start off in adulthood? How do you want, your retirement to be?
Mm-hmm.
And like definitely just start with the end in mind and then just take a leap of faith and believe in yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but I think at the end of the day, that's what it turns into, is just like, find your group, find your clique.
Yeah.
Definitely have that support system. I think that's also a hard thing to come by, is having a good, decent support system that's like, hey, I believe in you. Like,
Yeah.
you are really good at these kinds of things and you should go for it. And if anybody is trying to tell you don't do that, that's not a smart choice,
Yeah.
leave them behind.
I was thinking yesterday. I was thinking about this while I was doing the dishes. I don't know. I was feeling a little edgy yesterday evening, I guess. But I was thinking through the fact that yes, I agree. We need to have people speaking into some of these big decisions just to make sure we're making some wise choices. It's good to have like people we trust voice their opinions on that. But there's some people who just like always want to be negative and aren't like actually trying to critically and constructively help you. They're just yapping negatively for the sake to yap. But I was thinking to the fact that, you know what, especially when it comes to like making positive changes for the future of you and your kids, these people who want to be negative and yap and like, no, you shouldn't do that, XYZ, guess what? They're not going to be showing up knocking on your door offering to help you pay your rent in 5 years when you're still financially stuck. They're not going to be showing up to help you pay your bills. They're not going to be showing up to help make sure your kids can go to college or that you can retire. So I was, again, thinking about this for myself. So I was like, why put so much stock in the opinions of a bunch of negative people when they're not going to be the ones to show up and help me anyways? I am still going to have to figure out how to pay that bill. I'm still going to be figure out how to buy a house for me and my kids. So at the end of the day, one of my favorite stories of all time, motivates me every day, is the story of the hen, the little chicken lady or whatever she is. She's trying to bake some bread. And so she goes to all the animals in the farm or the barn or whatever. And she's like, hey, or not fox. Fox would probably eat her. But hey, goat, do you want to help me do this? And the goat says, no, I'm too tired. And she goes to the cow and said, hey, cow, do you want to help me do this? And the cow says, no, I'm busy. And she goes and asks for help. Nobody wants to help or be constructive. So she ends up baking the bread by herself and she puts it on the windowsill to cool. And then all those animals who didn't want to help show up saying like, ooh, that smells good. Can I get a piece of that? And she's like, well, where were you when I was needing to knead the dough and when I needed help getting the ingredients? And so she's like, nope, I'm eating this bread all by myself because none of y'all wanted to help. So don't come acting like you were there the whole time. And I love that story because I think it's true. Like sometimes you just got to be like, at the end of the day, I got to do what's best for me and my family because at the end of the day, it's going to be on me to figure out XYZ. I don't know. I was thinking about that last night.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. That's why I was saying, like, and honestly, if they are just a negative and they're just like putting you down, like those people don't want to watch you grow.
Right.
That is something that I have learned in my years of life. I know I'm not that old, but still I have lived definitely a life.
Yeah.
Is that most people do not want to see you grow. I was actually telling this to my dad just the other day. He was complaining about a friend that my dad lives in Texas now.
Okay.
And so he was telling me that he had a friend that was going to buy plane tickets for them to come and see me and the kids. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. And he was like, yeah, but I can't like trust him. Like he's flaky. It's like, yeah, he's got a job and he can do this and he can do that. But it's like, he's still, an alcoholic and this and that. And like my dad is a pretty bad alcoholic as well. He's not a mean person,
Sure.
but he's just like, he's not going to remember the conversation he had with you yesterday, But, I had to just sit him down we were on FaceTime and I was just like, look, dude, like some friends aren't really your friends. They're just in your life and they're just your friend, quote unquote,
Yeah.
because they can go, at least I'm not like that guy.
Yes. Yep.
I might drink every day, but at least I have a job.
Yeah.
At least I'm not him. And at least I'm not like that.
Yeah.
So they just feel like they're above you. And you don't want to be around people like that, that are going to keep you down so that they can be slightly above you.
Yep.
Like those are just toxic people that you don't want in your life.
Yep.
You want those people that are like, dude, go for it.
Go for it.
Dude, go for it.
And if you fail or if it doesn't work out, like I'm still going to be rooting for you. I'm still going to support you because sometimes stuff just doesn't work out and that's fine. And but it's at least you tried. Like that's more than some people can say. And I think to add on to that, I think people have that negative view of anybody who wants to make progress and change because it makes them look at their own life and makes them feel insecure about like, oh, well, that person works in the same warehouse as me, or that person's also a stay-at-home mom like me, or that person makes the same amount as me, and yet they're trying to start a business or they're trying to get their license for this and they're doing this, and it just makes them look at their own life and be like, well, instead of me making changes for my own life to do what I need to do, I'm just going to talk crap about that other person and put them down so I can at least try to feel better about the fact that I'm not making any strides in my own life. Like that's why you just got to have to begin with the end in mind. Like you said, have your own goals, have your own desires, and know that at the end of the day, you just got to do what you have to do for your family.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I'm definitely, like I said, it definitely is your circle. Start looking at your inner circle. If that's one piece of advice is like, start to realize people's intentions towards you. Like if you really start to focus and like hone in on what people are saying or how they're looking at you or just even little comments. There's a reason why I don't really have friends. Like, because I had started to notice like certain looks or certain little like comments, and I'm not one who is against busting balls with with your friends, and you just like kind of poke fun, but it's out of good humor because there's that vibe, like you can feel it, right? And then when somebody like actually says something that's like trying to hurt your feelings, then you're like, that was not a joke. Like you were not trying to be like cutesy funny, like you were being mean. And like those are the people that you need to kick to the curb.
There you go. So you see, everybody, this is the wisdom that you get if you ask Kayla to be your financial strategist. This is what you're gonna get in your appointments with her. No, seriously, that's a lot of good wisdom. I think it's just, I know we talk a lot just between us, like the value of just being yourself, being authentic, staying true to who you are, but in the ability to stay true to who you are, not being afraid to do the things you need to do to survive, or to not just survive, but to thrive.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday. Like a lot of times, especially for single parents, we're just in survival mode. Like, again, we have rent to pay, $200 left over after rent, and we don't have any choice. We just got to make this $200 pay for the food and if anything our kids needs and emergencies, and like we just always just figure it out. But at the end of the day, the reality of going from that to thriving is something that, I don't know, I just don't think we as single parents are often even really encouraged to think through that a lot, because part of the reason why I started this show is because I see a lot of like media and content and stuff addressing to single parents, and always just like, oh well, you'll make it, like you'll get through, like maybe you'll meet somebody one day who can help you and blah 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 and do all this stuff. And that's true, like maybe that could happen, but like what we're saying is like, I'll talk to the camera, you, for where you are, single parent or wherever you are right now, maybe you can start doing the things you need to do right now to go from surviving to thriving. And we think that you're awesome and you're legit and you're strong and you're cool and you're all the things that it takes to make those changes. So why not go for it? That's what I have to say.
Yeah. Just go for it. Take the leap. Take the leap. Start diving in head first, man. That's how you learn lessons. I will preach this until the day I die. I say it to my kids too, because they always think I'm overbearing.
Yeah.
But you can't be old and wise if you were never young and crazy.
Ooh.
So
did you steal that from anybody? Because I want to put on a shirt for merch.
I did not.
That's a good t-shirt.
That's what me and one of my friends back in high school, that's what we would say. You can't be old and wise if you were never young and crazy.
I love that.
And it's the truth. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot of crazy things in high school. I did in my early 20s. But you know, that's where that's where my compassion comes from. That's where my empathy comes from. It's like, it's those life lessons learned. So don't be afraid to dive in head first. And if it doesn't work out, you just learn from, analyze it, learn from whatever may have happened or what didn't happen even. Because sometimes you could have been like, oh, I didn't do that, right? Like if you load the dishwasher and you don't put soap, your dishes aren't clean. So it's like, oh, learn, I didn't do this thing, so I'm going to do it next time.
Yeah.
And it'll be a learning curve, but you just got to dive in. Don't be scared. It's doable.
Love it. Let's be a little crazy and let's do it no matter how old you are. I know she said young and crazy, but like the age that you are right now is the youngest you're ever going to be again in this moment. So whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, this right now is the youngest you're ever going to be right now. So might as well take advantage of the time you have right now. Well, Kayla, I appreciate again you dropping all that wisdom. Do you mind sticking around for one last segment? We're going to do like a hard right turn. I'm going to ask you a question, but we still need your wisdom. So can I keep you for a few more minutes?
Yeah, that's all good.
All right, let's do it. All right, well, everybody, we've reached the point in the podcast that we like to call Deeply Single. This is the point of the show where we just slow things down a little bit. We get a little real. We maybe even get a little intimate. So I thank you so much for just making it this far in the show. For Deeply Single this week, we have Kayla here in all her infinite wisdom. So I actually just want to pick her brain on something. I haven't actually prepared her for this yet. So we're going to get the raw, as she said, going to give us that raw, real reaction right now. So here it goes. So let's see. This was like, literally 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, I ended up going out to dinner with a girl. And before that, we were talking for about a couple of weeks through like dating app Messenger and stuff like that. I hadn't ever met, hadn't ever like talked on the phone or anything, just messages. But to be honest, I could tell that the messages were kind of dry, not very engaging. We're just kind of going through the typical like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite color? Where do you work? How many kids do you have? Where are you from? Like the typical
Yeah.
boring stuff, I guess. But I was like, whatever. And then it came to like being the weekend a couple of weeks ago, and we originally were going to get coffee. Because coffee to me is super easy, like in and out in an hour, cheap relative to compared to like other dates. So I'm like, okay, we'll get coffee. But she has 2 kids, and she was like, well, I can't get like a sitter for my kids for us to go to coffee. I'm sorry. And I was like, sure, no problem. No worries. I got other stuff to do anyways. Like, we'll just reschedule. Didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
But then again, she's always been pretty dry. But then a little bit later in that day, she responded like hyped, like exclamation points and like responding quickly, being like, hey, my mom said that she would keep my kids tonight so we can go to dinner even though we weren't able to go to coffee. And I was like, okay, I guess my evening's still pretty free, so yeah, we can go to dinner. So we went to dinner, and it was whatever, typical first date, awkward, just surface level stuff. Then the next day, I follow up. I'm like, hey, I did have a good time last night. Blah blah blah. Like, did you want to do that again sometime or whatever? And like, she just basically responded like, yeah, I guess I had a good time too. But to be honest, like, I was just really looking forward to getting out of my house and away from my kids for a couple of hours. And so that's kind of why I was so eager to go on that dinner date with you. But I don't know, like, going forward, if I want to like continue to pursue anything. And I was like, oh, so basically you just needed to get away from your kids for a couple hours, and you knew there's this guy who would take you out to dinner and pay for your food. And so yeah, so I'm on like a couple of like single parent Facebook groups just to be around the people, because if I'm hosting a single parents podcast, I got to be around our people and see what they're going through and so on and so forth. So I actually posted this scenario in one of the Facebook groups I'm at, and I was just like, so this is kind of what happened. I talked to some of my friends about what happened with that girl, and their advice to me was like, see, Anthony, this is why you only commit to coffee dates, because then it's you spend all this money on dinner and it was for nothing, and this is why you stick to coffee, because then again, it's easy, in and out, cheap, under $20, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I posted everything I just shared with you all in that Facebook group, and it just sparked like a big old debate. Like, some people were like, well, were you expecting anything from the dinner? Like, what were your intentions going in? And then some people were like, yes, I agree with your friends. This is why you stick to coffee. And then so on and so forth. And then some people, their main issue was like me bringing up the fact that I paid for dinner. And so they're like, well, why does it even matter that you paid? Like, is it that big of a deal? And so they made it about the money. And one of the guys, he was like, bro, I totally relate with you. What happened to you, it was what I like to call being a foodie call. So
That's good.
so he's like, I've had this happen to me. There'll be women who maybe aren't really feeling me, but they want to go out and have a free dinner. So I just end up being their foodie call. Like, hey, John, what are you doing tonight? I was thinking we can go try this new restaurant. Like, oh, ha, 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 ha. And then after that, ghosting. So all of that set up to say, Kayla, do you think I was nothing but a foodie call?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's rough, dude. I am glad that I'm like a girl. Like, sometimes I wish I was a boy, but and not in like a weird way, but just like you guys get to pee standing up,
That is pretty nice. That is
pretty
awesome.
cool.
I do love that.
Like, I have to pop squat on the side of the road. But yeah, that is rough, because if she was just I mean, why not be upfront about it?
Yeah.
Why not be upfront about it and just be like, look, dude, I just need to like get away from my kids and like it would be cool to have some nice conversation, but I'm not looking for a relationship.
Yeah.
Or if you are looking for a relationship, I mean, I guess, yeah, why even say that you were just excited to get out of the house?
Right. Yeah. If she would have just been like, hey, I had a good time with you, but after you're talking to you a little bit, I just don't think we're like compatible in that way. And like, yeah, I'd like to be your friend and blah, blah, blah. The typical like, hey, I'm just not interested. Like, then I'd be like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of going on dates is to see if there's that compatibility. And if you
Yeah.
don't feel it, then no harm, no foul. But to specifically say,
I just wanted to get out of my house.
I just needed to get away from my kids.
It's
And
like, that's
so,
what your
yeah.
friends are for. Go hang out with your girlfriends.
Oh, yeah.
Go hang out with your girlfriends. You want to get out of your house and get away from your kids? Go hang out with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, what? Come on. Like, why do that? Or go to the bar by yourself. And I'm sure some drunk guy will buy you a drink.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
why mess with somebody emotionally?
Yeah.
And I guess, like, you know, or maybe not even emotionally, but mentally, maybe a little mixture of the two. It's just like, you know, because like then moving forward, are you going to always have this mentality where like now you're not really like showing up? You're only showing up halfway, like not even halfway because you, not saying that you've been in that
Sure.
situation before, but like if those kinds of situations are so reoccurring and then you keep hearing about it and you keep hearing about it,
Hmm.
why are you going to even want to go on dates?
Yeah.
Why are you even going to want to be a gentleman and pay for the date?
Yeah.
Like, I can totally understand it. Like,
Okay.
I could understand not wanting to pay for a date or only wanting to go to coffee because girls are mean. Because girls can be mean. And it's like, you know, like that's what you have friends for. Don't use dating
Mm,
websites just to use people.
yeah.
Because it is supposed to be that, like, each of you is bringing your best self,
Sure.
right? But yeah, that seemed like a foodie
A foodie call. That's what
call.
some people in the Facebook groups, their point was, well, this is why, and this was like women saying this too. This wasn't
Mhm.
just men, but like there would be even women who'd be like, yeah, this is why if the messaging or talking before the actual date is dry
Mhm.
and there's not really any spark or engagement, that's why I just don't even move forward with like meeting in person. That was
Yeah.
one of their suggestions.
That is good advice. Yes.
Another one was just like, this is just why like I just really like vet my dates, I guess, before going on a date to really see like where they're at. And I guess, I mean, but I guess if you haven't actually met the person and you're just messaging, like there's only so much like vetting you can do until you actually like just show up. And so, and like for me, I guess to address like a couple of people who like made the whole situation about the money of the paying for dinner, that really wasn't like for me like the issue. I didn't even say like issue because I don't really like what's whatever to me. I really don't even care. But like I guess the confusion for me was the intention behind going out.
Hmm.
Like, because in my head, I'm going out to see if this person might be a potential partner, even if it's just a first date early on. Like, that's what dates are for, to see if you're compatible with
Yeah.
somebody. But if her intention is, I just needed a break from my kids because my kids are driving me crazy because I'm a single mom and I'm with them all the time, then we're already showing up to the date with two different sets of intentions, I guess. And so,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that? I guess that's just kind of where I came coming from it.
Yeah, because it is two different intentions. You're bringing a different kind of, because everybody like always acts a little bit different, right? On first date.
Oh yeah, of
Like
course.
100%. I mean, I hate meeting new people and like dating and stuff I'm so honest because like we all are holding in things that need to come out of our bodies.
Yeah.
You know? And then your stomach hurts and then it's just got awful and we all do it. Everybody does it.
That's true.
You're just like, God, I need to go home. So like I hate dating, and so like she could have gotten a different version of you and you a different version of her if she would have just been. I feel like she should have just been straight up like, look, dude, I just need a friend to like get me out
Yeah.
of the house. I just need a friend to get me out of the house. Like, maybe she doesn't have friends. Maybe she doesn't have girlfriends to go out with. And that's totally, I get that 100%. I am that person who does not have a whole lot of girlfriends. And the few friends I do have, they're also single parents. And so, like, life is busy. And I get that. So, like, why not? I feel like she should have just been straight up with it, because then, like I said, it would have been, she would have gotten a different version of you. And you
Yeah.
would have probably gotten a different version of her, because I feel like she knew wholeheartedly where your intentions were, right? Is like, you're going on a actual date to find a possible girlfriend, a, possible partner, long-term partner, whereas her intentions were just very malicious, I feel like. I feel like those are malicious intentions. Like, you're just using somebody.
Right.
Where, like, you could just be straight up and just be like, hey, even if she was, like, too broke to, like, handle her own meal or something, like, you guys could have figured something else out than go to dinner. You guys could have figured out, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, let's get away from the kids. We can go,
Sure. Yeah. Something.
yeah, we can go do something else. Like, whatever. Like, we all need our breaks.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. But yeah, I do feel like that was a little bit, like, malicious intent on her part. So
There you go, people. I guess it was 100% a foodie call.
yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, thank you for speaking into that. Like I said, that was just been a interesting point of conversation for some people I've been talking with the last couple of weeks. Dating's crazy. Dating's hard. This is why I just focusing on running businesses, I guess, because dating's crazy.
it is crazy, dude. It is crazy.
But what do you all think, SPs out there? So I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. Maybe you disagree with how I handled it. Maybe you see where that date was coming from. Maybe you have some strong feelings and stories that come from the fact that you can relate to everything that I just shared in this segment. Please let us know your thoughts. Let me hear your stories. I want to hear your voice, and we want to get your voice out on this show. So what you can do, you can reach me at thesingleparentspodcast@gmail.com. That's thesingleparentspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can use all the socials and let me hear what you have to say. Kayla, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
You're very welcome. It was fun.
I hope you had a good time. I hope you'll come back sometime soon.
Yeah. Definitely do. Just let me know. I am for rambling.
We love to ramble
some
on the show.
wisdom.
Yeah, I am good at that. But for the people who maybe want to get a hold of you for business stuff, finance stuff, all those good things, is there a good way for the people to contact you?
Yeah, just look me up. Facebook. You're gonna tag me in the video.
Tagged on this, yes.
Caleb Reddernitz. I am the only one. So
The only one.
only one on Facebook. So, yeah, just add me on there. Message me. My notifications aren't turned on. Otherwise, I'd be like. So
there.
if it takes me a little bit to get back to you, please be patient. But I will get back to you. But yeah, just hit me up through Facebook.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for another episode of the Single Parents Podcast. Until next time, we have Kayla, and I'm Anthony. And you all out there, just stay beautiful. Bye.